just gonna have to be quiet during most of the interview.
So no belching like last night.
Oh, that sounds
Hello?
fun.
Hey Thomas, how's it going?
Hey guys, how's it going?
I'm pretty okay. So yeah, you're a QA tester for Mass Effect 3, correct?
Yep.
Alright, I believe we had one of your fellow QA testers on here yesterday, Josh Poole. Did you have a similar experience getting hired at BioWare as him? Like, how did you end up getting this position?
Well, it's pretty straightforward for everybody. What they do is they'll sift through all the resumes they get, and they'll have a hiring fair. At which point, you go in, you'll take a written exam, and if you do well, you'll answer a couple questions from some of the leads there, and then you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and hopefully you get called.
Okay, and like, what was your experience like as a QA tester? Like, did you? I'm assuming you had a lot of fun since you're gonna be on here talking about it.
It's a great time. Every day is something different, and that's one of the things that I really love about the job. It's not run into a wall for 8 hours of the day every single day. Granted, there is a fair bit of that, but it's not quite to the extent that everybody says it is.
Okay, and I believe you were telling me how you had a few things that you were running by legal to that you wanted to talk about. What were some of the topics you kind of wanted to discuss while you're on here?
I just wanted to make sure that certain things I said in regards to the studio wouldn't get me axed. So that's the biggest thing for me,
Okay.
as well as getting that post sticky on the forums for you guys.
All right, awesome, thanks. So, yeah, so what in particular were you working on for Mass Effect 3? What were you effectively trying to break?
Initially, I was one of the playthrough guys, and it's kind of a double-sided sword. Pretty much my job was to run through the game, hitting different plot states, hitting different side missions, different side quests, and making sure everything works accordingly for the end goal. However, throughout the project, I was actually really lucky to be pulled for some more producer tasks in regards to making things like manual or helping out with reputation systems and how they work, or just things like that. But mainly, I was the guy that's pretty much doing what you guys are doing right now, playing through the game, having a good time, making sure everything works and that there's nothing out of place.
Okay, that sounds pretty awesome. So, now do you get also to test the DLC once that's coming out and like play through all the potential bug fixes for day one patches and all that?
Yep, 100%. A lot of that has already gone on. A lot of people don't really understand exactly the process of, or really the timeline of when we test these things. For anything that's, like, for example, for DLC, we've been testing DLC for over a month now. So when we see, posts on the forums suggesting certain things, it sometimes I kind of chuckle to myself, and some of them are, really good suggestions, and I wish we would have had them a little bit earlier, but they're not as doable.
Alright, makes sense. So, brain fart, 1 second. Do you guys have any questions you'd like to ask him? Okay, so, here's the question. PS3, for the demo at least, there were some frame rate issues. Is there anything you can say about whether or not there's going to be something to kind of fix that when the game releases, or is...
From my personal experience, both playing PS3 and Xbox over the last couple months, and every day playing both, the frame rate on both is very, very much the same in the final build, and that was one of the things that we definitely wanted to hammer on and make sure that it plays smoothly.
Okay, so the demo is definitely not just a chunk of the final build, it's kind of a beta still, sort of.
In a sense, yes. I personally, honestly, I haven't played the beta outside of playing a couple multiplayer matches, but from playing PS3 and Xbox recently, I can tell you that the frame rate, I really don't see an issue with it.
Okay, cool. So, have you been a fan of the Mass Effect series before you got hired onto this project, or did you just kind of leap into this?
I definitely just leapt into it. Mass Effect, I'm sure I'm going to get ragged on in a minute here, but it's never really been my game. It's never been my type of game. I never played the first one, and the second one I played for a couple hours, and I couldn't really stand how the gameplay kind of worked. The gameplay systems worked.
So how did that kind of affect how you processed your bug nodes? Like, was that did you comment like, man, I really hate this type of thing that just happened right here? This isn't a bug, but this is like frustrating for me, or did you just kind of have to work with that?
There's a lot of that, actually. There's a lot of subjective bugs that we write and suggestions that we write to developers on how gameplay is, how the game flow is, and what kind of player it would affect. So, for someone like me that really enjoy combat, having, bulky combat and, definitely the cover system wasn't as refined in Mass Effect 2, that kind of bothered me.
Okay, like in BioWare, what's kind of the relationship between the designer and the tester? I know, there's like joke kind of going around that it's never a bug, it's just a feature sort of thing. Like, did you ever kind of encounter that sort of line, or was there like a bit more of a friendly working relationship involved?
It's give and take on both sides. It kind of depends on who you talk to sometimes and how their day is going, and if they've already got 100 different things that they've had tasked to them. With developers, they're always, eager for suggestions and eager for people to try out their level. But you have to take it subjectively in the way you approach it. You have to be careful with your words, because this is, you're pretty much telling someone that they did their job incorrectly, right? If they build a level and you can break it, or if you can beat it in 20 seconds, then, that's good. And no one likes to hear that. So it's give and take. And it really depends on what pool of developers you deal with. I mostly dealt with our level designers and our programming team, both awesome groups, and I really enjoyed talking to all of them.
Okay, so you've kind of seen this game from its beginning. From its earliest, most basic form. Like, what point did it kind of click to you while you were testing it that like this is now a game? Like, this is now something that people will actually want to play, as opposed to like a rough design of what it could be.
Well, I was hired on the same time as Josh, so late August, early September, and at that point, the game was in what we call a white box. And pretty much what that means is that there's the level's laid out. There's not all the art. You can get through the level, but you're obviously going to encounter a couple issues. I would definitely say point where it clicked was late November, when our developers started crunching, and so that pretty much means that they're almost 24/7 working. And at that point, you could see huge improvements in what we were looking at as a game. And at that point, it was like, wow, this is amazing. This looks so good, especially with our Cine Design guys, our Cineatom guys. It was just huge. It's awesome. You guys will love it. Trust me.
Alright, now, what was kind of like your favorite bug that you discovered? Like, something that you just found hilarious while play testing?
Oh, hilarious bugs. One of them was with our female Shepard. You would first load into her as a default configuration. She would be missing her chin and her jaw, so she would look like a zombie, and it was pretty amusing.
Nice. Do you guys have any questions for him?
He's a QA tester?
Yes.
Alright, has he tested any other games?
In a studio, no. I did do some private test realm for World of Warcraft when Blizzard still did that way back in the day, but that's really my extent. Testing.
Okay, so how do you kind of plan to stay in the games industry after Mass Effect 3, and like where do you kind of see yourself trying to get to through this? Or is this like, you kind of want to move on from here sort of thing?
It's interesting because what I'm doing right now, I really do enjoy it, and one thing that I find BioWare does really well with is they give the opportunity to us QA testers to kind of spearhead different sorts of testing and really work with other QA and help manage other QA, for different tasks. If I couldn't tell you if I'm going to stay in the game industry or not. I'm not 100% sure on what I want to do. I'm really enjoying my time here right now, so I'll definitely try and stay here as long as I can.
Okay, awesome. So, is this kind of something that a lot of QA testers do? Are they generally willing to stick around? Because there's always that line that there's a high turnaround rate for your position.
Yeah, a lot of
they promote up, or is that like they kind of like get cut out, sort of thing?
Well, with how many people want to be a QA tester, first of all, it's really hard to get the spot. And I'll tell you, a lot of the guys and girls that I work with have exceptional educations. They've been to school for 4 to 6 years, multiple degrees. There is a lot of different ways to move up. One of the guys that I've been working with a lot lately, Brendan Frank, he is going to go to audio. Josh Port, I know he's looking to get into SIN design a little bit more. There's really a whole host of different things you can go to. QA is really a foot in the door. At that point, once you're a QA tester, if you can prove yourself, you can definitely go into the production side, the development side, really anywhere you want to
go. Okay, so now, did you ever actually end up finishing Mass Effect or Mass Effect 2 just to get context of what you were testing, or are you still you don't even want to deal with this?
It's funny. I did finish Mass Effect 2. The first Mass Effect I did not. I've never loaded it, to be honest, and I think that's no longer a well-kept secret at my workplace now.
Okay, yeah. We're definitely kind of wrapping up on our Mass Effect 1 right now. We're in our final levels. So, in Mass Effect 2, did you manage to save all of your teammates, or did you just kind of let everything crash and burn?
Let everything crash and burn. It was, it was a little painful for me seeing the Mass Effect 2 systems compared to the Mass Effect 3 systems, because there is such a huge improvement in everything that I would just want to get through it as fast as possible.
What do you think is actually the most exciting improvement between 2 and 3? What should we as gamers be really excited for and looking forward to?
That's a good question. I think it's twofold. I think our combat system has been greatly improved, just in regards to pathing around levels, how cover works, and how smart our enemies are at higher difficulties. And on the other side of that, I do think a lot of our side plots are just exceptional, phenomenal. I really enjoy them. This coming from somebody that isn't necessarily, a big side plot guy. If I had my way, I probably would have skipped through a lot of the chat and just spammed through a lot of the conversations, a lot of the dialogue. Fortunately, I can't do that. But reading that dialogue and hearing it, it's really emotional. There's an impact, and you really want to know more about it. So those side plots really get you in real quick.
Okay, so outside of Mass Effect, then, you keep mentioning there's a certain type of game you play. What games have been taking up a lot of your free time?
StarCraft 2. I'll tell you, StarCraft, definitely.
What level are you at there? Do you play the custom games?
I do play a little bit of custom games. We have quite a few guys at work that will play, on our breaks or whatnot, so that's really enjoyable. We had a couple pretty big free-for-alls. Our rooms are pretty large. I believe we had 6 people in a free-for-all at one point. Everyone was yelling at each other not to attack them, and it's quite amusing.
That's pretty awesome. So, obviously, you're working in an environment of gamers. How does that kind of affect things? Is there just a specific infectious attitude about enthusiasm for creating something that you guys would enjoy, or is it you're kind of looking at other games and trying to be them or not be them?
Well, we definitely look at other games, but it's not so much, hey, we want to be like this game. It's, we want to take away what they've done correctly and what they've done well and actually improve on that. So we want to take, a lot of their game systems and just blow it out of the water, change it up, and make it our own. That being said, in regards to the attitude, in our studio